sending the reminder on the Discord channel just now. So I think we might have a few latecomers, but that's okay. How's everyone doing? Thumbs up, middling, down. Okay, some middles, some double thumbs up, a couple of downs. All right. All right. Cool. Sorry, I'm just checking a couple of bits. So we may have a buzz at the door during today's session, which, as I always say, is a part of the practice, it's part of life, but everyone can feel very excited because I bought myself a tent and was meant to be here yesterday and not disturb us. However, such is life. It may well turn up while we're practicing, so we'll see. But anyway, I digress. This session, guys, as always, it's going to be recorded. It's going to be put onto YouTube. But as always, it is only my webcam that is being recorded. So in a second, you'll see a notification come up. And just know, just know that it's that it's just me. It's lovely to see your faces. There it is. All right, okay. So today's session is about finding focus and flow. Maybe you've heard this term before around flow. It's become very popular recently. There are many different ways to describe it, but it's been on my mind for a little while. You could also call it being in the zone. It's when there's a high degree of concentration. It's a little bit like when time passes by quite quickly, you can be quite productive, and everything's just kind of running pretty efficiently. And I thought I would relate this to mindfulness practice and how mindfulness can help us find focus and flow. So if we think about what mindfulness is, you can think of it in two different elements. Whoa, I haven't introduced myself. Sorry, backtrack. For anyone who hasn't been here before, my name is Solomon. I'm the lead mindfulness teacher here. Hi, welcome. Okay, let's continue. So we can think of mindfulness in two different ways, in a sense. One is we're becoming increasingly aware of both what's happening inside ourselves and outside of us. So inside, we can think of thoughts, we can think of emotions, we can think of body sensations, and externally, in a similar way, it's noticing everything that's taking place in our environment around us. So it's becoming generally more aware of everything that's taking place in our experience. And then the second part of this is knowing that we have the element of choice to make a decision as to where we place our attention at any particular time. So as students, it might sometimes be, or quite often be wise to learn to be tolerant of certain discomforts, certain aspects of our experience that may feel frustrating, that may feel boring, and it may sometimes feel like we're delaying gratification for something that's further down the line. So we may well, hopefully, at times enjoy our studies, but also we know that maybe ultimately we keep on putting the effort in now, and it's going to lead to some end result or goal that will take us to the next phase of what we're doing. So this choice is taking place in every moment of our lives in certain ways. And what we can do to empower ourselves for success in our studies is to notice those things that arise in our awareness that are distractions, that aren't fundamentally taking us to where we want to be going, and learning how to let those distractions pass on by without always responding to them. So as I put a quote in the Discord mindfulness channel, Robert Sawyer, he said, learning to ignore things is one of the greatest paths to inner peace. So learning to ignore things is one of the greatest paths to inner peace. Now take that with a pinch of salt. You know, I'm not talking about ignoring everything, but in certain contexts, being able to ignore distractions can be really beneficial. So there will always be, you know, we're sitting down to practice a meditation perhaps, and we're thinking we've got everything set up just perfect, no distractions, Everything's quiet, perfect. And then we notice there's a gentle itch on the tip of our nose. And straight away we're like, oh, what? I thought I'd set everything up perfect. Here's this distraction. But the distraction only really becomes a problem if when we get stuck in that mental maybe, when we're toing and froing and trying to decide, what should I do about it? And it takes up a lot of mental energy. Whereas if we can firmly address the tug of our attention to these places that we don't want it to be in, and we just have with a certain and firm no, then we notice that actually we can stay on track much more easily. It's about intention and that gentle but firm no. I'm going to bring my attention back where I want it to be. And that in many ways is the key to diligently continuing to make the choice to positively focus our attention in the place where it's going to benefit us. And the more that we observe the agitations of our mind and our body and just practice letting it go and bringing the mind back time and time again from being off task to on task, we notice how in time our minds become less easily distracted, more focused, and get more easy access to a state of flow. So mindfulness isn't necessarily always just about doing what feels good. It's about making a choice. It's becoming increasingly aware of what's going on and then deciding, where do I want my attention to be? What's the longer game here? What shall I do about it? And that's what we're going to work with in today's practice. It's going to be a very simple practice. It's going to be choosing a place for our mind to continually come back to and just noticing when it gets distracted. And when you notice it's become distracted, you come back again. That is in many ways the basis of a lot of the practices we do here. But that's it. We're just going to time again. We're just going to come back and come back. And when you notice that the mind is distracted, you might want to just spend a couple of seconds just noticing where it went. Oh, my mind went to a distracting thought. Okay, my mind went to that discomfort in my knee, a physical sensation. Oh, I noticed that I'm becoming quite bored. And all of these things can drag our attention elsewhere. So just when you notice the mind has become distracted, remembering it's not a failing, we're not trying to eradicate distractions. Distractions naturally come up. The power of the practice is just noticing. In that moment when you notice, give it a gentle label. Oh, that was a thought. That was a sensation. That was an emotion. And bring it back. We're practicing this mindfulness muscle. And in time, it allows us to find focus and flow. So that's what we're going to do. Let's do it. So let's find a way of sitting firstly that's going to feel comfortable as we bring a little bit of movement into the body, a little stretch, noticing where those knots and kinks are. Give it a little massage, give it a little stretch. And then when you're ready, you can just allow the mind and the body to settle, coming to some stillness, allowing the eyes to just gently close if that feels comfortable. And just getting used to how it feels to be sitting here. No real need to feel like we need to achieve anything or do anything. For the next few minutes, we're just going to be with our experience. See what there is to notice. And always the reminder is that if at any point it feels too overwhelming or uncomfortable to be with the experience as it is, always knowing that you have a choice to just hit the pause button. Take the attention elsewhere to where it feels more grounding and comfortable. Remember, it's about that element of choice, where to place the attention to look after ourselves. So we're going to just spend a couple of moments just placing our attention in different parts of the body, and then we'll make a choice as to where we want to let the mind reside for the rest of the practice. So beginning by taking the attention and placing it down in the feet, and just having a felt sense of what sensations you notice here. There's always no need to look for anything particular or special. Just noticing how it feels in the feet right now. The touch against the floor, the socks or shoes around the feet. Maybe noticing sensations coming from inside the feet. The bones, the tendons. And then allowing the attention to gradually rise up through the body, up through the legs, into the pelvis, and just resting in the place where the body makes contact with the chair or the floor beneath you or behind you. And just tuning into what sensations are present here. Maybe noticing how the weight flows down through the body. Noticing if it's equal from left to right, front to back. Noticing if there's any tightness in this part of the body. And just seeing if bringing awareness to it just allows it to loosen all by itself. And shifting the attention once again up through the torso, out into the arms and through to the hands. And notice how the hands feel in this moment. The touch of one hand against the other or resting on the lap. Maybe there's a gentle breeze that you notice or a sense of temperature. And now moving the attention one last time down into the belly. Tuning into the sensations of even subtle movements of the belly as you breathe. Allowing the breath to come all the way down. And expand the belly slightly as you breathe in. And allow it to fall back again as you breathe out. And so here we have the 4 places we could choose to rest our attention. In the feet, the seat, the hands, or the belly. So just choosing where for the next few minutes you would like to keep your attention. Tuning into the sensations in this part of the body. Staying curious and interested, and each time the mind becomes distracted, just noticing where it goes and bringing it back time and again. remembering that this is a practice where there is no expectation, there is no goal. Simply just noticing what happens with our attention, moment by moment, and bringing it back each time. Maybe noticing what your automatic reaction is when you realize that your mind has become distracted. Noticing if there's a flavor of frustration, or maybe acceptance, or anything in between. And again, the practice is just to notice this, and then return the mind again. Seeing this as an opportunity to be curious as to what happens with our minds when there aren't so many distractions. And if there seems to be some self-judgment, some criticism within that, always knowing that you're welcome to bring a little bit of loving kindness, some self-compassion to your experience. So just noticing when the mind wanders. Was it a thought, an emotion, or a sensation that took you away? Noticing that and then just tuning in once again to the anchor that you've chosen for your attention during this practice. So as we come towards the end of this practice, just allowing the attention to expand slightly to take in the body as a whole. Having a felt sense of the whole body sitting here. Taking in the outline, the shape of the body. And noticing how it feels to notice the body being supported by the floor beneath you, by the chair as well. And see if it brings us any sense of stability or groundedness as we're about to begin our transition out of the meditation. So with the sound of the bell, we can just slowly start to bring a little bit of movement back into the body. A gentle stretch, a gentle massage. And maybe just setting that intention to maintain mindful awareness even during this. And as we continue with this session, just allowing the mind to stay with this present moment focus of the feet on the floor, the body against the seat, maybe the hands, maybe the breath, as we start to open up our eyes and take in the faces on screen once again. Well, thank you for that practice, everybody. We have the chat box open, as always. We have just a few minutes. And I'd love to hear, how was that practice? What did you notice? Was there any sense of flow or focus? Did it feel more like just a distractive mess of mind wandering, frustration? If there was any self-criticism or frustration, when you noticed that, was it possible to bring a little bit of loving kindness and self-compassion to that experience? Or was that a bit of a struggle? Did that create a little bit more tension? As always, love to know your name and where you are in the world as well. If you're going to write a little message, it's always nice to have those little personal details if you're willing to share. I can read some out. If you have any questions, then yeah, please do ask. Okay, we have, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. There's Angel. I'm not sure if it's a South American Angel. If you can let me know. It says, thank you so much. It's my first time and I loved it and told my friends to join too. It's great. I loved it. Beautiful. Well, I'm glad you had a good experience. And thank you so much for letting other people know about it. It's always really lovely to have new members. So thank you. Shruti from India. As soon as I start studying, my mind gives me what could have happened or what can happen in the time to come and affects my productivity all the time. And I tend to think more, do less of what I should do. Can we have a raise of hands, please, for anyone else who's ever noticed their mind start to drift into things from the past or things heading on to the future? Yeah. Okay, so we're in good company, hey? Thank you. It can be frustrating, hey? It can be a little bit, yeah, I mean, we're all human. We all experience these things. We're like, okay, I'm going to be productive. This is my focus. And our mind is not playing ball with us. So we just practice. We set an intention and we try again. Jace from Canada. Hi, Jace. My mind was wandering to fall asleep, but I was able to at least come back to the meditation. Quite relaxing and a great feeling after a while. Thank you, Jace. Yeah, it's interesting to notice that just like any experience during a meditation practice also changes in time. And that's one of our jobs, to just notice this. So just because it's calm and peaceful at the beginning doesn't mean it will end up that way. And just because it's frustrating or boring at the beginning doesn't mean it will end up that way either. And that's actually one of the fundamental learnings of this practice, is that things come and go, things change. And in the moment, we feel like they are rock solid and permanent, and this frustration will always be there. And this always happens to me. And then, sometimes it can last a while. And sometimes these things can become patterns and habits. But also a lot of the time we notice it's not always quite as fixed as we tend to think they are in the moment. And they do pass. Mayam from Pakistan. Back again. Hello, everybody. Yeah, froze. 1 week to a new internet. So yeah, great. So this is the point. You set an intention, you came back to the meditation, and yeah, a bit frustrating and annoying. So there's no better or worse experience really in one sense. There's just an awareness of what the experience is, and in time we notice how this can change and transform when we bring kind attention to it. So that's great. Thank you. Greta says, the more sessions I've been in, the less my mind wanders. Of course, it still does a bit, but I try not to be too frustrated. Perfect, Greta. Yeah, thank you. That's a really good summary of the practice. Hannibal says, I was concentrating on my hands, and at one point my head and other body parts started to itch. So I had a dilemma with my mind. Yeah, this dilemma is what we talked about at the beginning, huh? One part of me was saying to relax and not to be that tense, but other parts said to scratch, but I found my solution and managed to relax. It's sometimes so challenging to actually not wander and take your time to concentrate in the present moment when you've had a difficult day behind. Yeah, this is referring to what I said before. It's often that maybe, it's that struggle with what to do that's the most challenging sometimes. And if we've just set ourselves up with that intention of this is how I'm going to react to things that come up, and we're able to remember that in the moment, then it can feel a lot easier to just say, actually, I'm not going to get distracted by that. But an itch is a really good example. It's like, okay, that's cool. I noticed there's an itch. I'm just going to ignore that. I noticed there's an itch. Cool. I'm going to go back. But then, of course, maybe the itch lingers. And maybe it gets more distracting, and maybe it gets more difficult. And then you're like, oh, but maybe actually now it's worse if I try to ignore it. And actually I should just scratch it and then it will be done with, and then I can get on with the meditation. And all of this is absolutely fine. If that sounds familiar to anyone, that's absolutely fine. It's just noticing that this is how our minds play out, these internal dilemmas. And, to everyone else, we're all just sitting here, eyes closed, looking fine and serene. But this is the thing, it's all playing out in our mind. It's a little play. And that's okay. Just learning what decision you took, understanding how you came to that, and then noticing what happens next time. It's great. Debbie says, from the Philippines, also my first time here. At first, I felt distracted and my breath goes heavier, wanting to breathe more air to release the distractions and go back into focus. Very interesting you noticed that, Debbie. Thank you for that. Our out breath is the part of the breathing cycle which does bring a little bit more relaxation, and with that relaxation can come focus. It's called the parasympathetic nervous system. It's a little bit more calming. The in-breath kind of is a bit more activating. It can also bring focus, but it has a different energy to it. So it's interesting there that just straight away you're noticing that the breath wants to go heavier on the out-breath to release the distractions and bring about focus. Really interesting observation. Thank you. And Angel says, it helped me a lot to focus. It takes my mind. It made my mind focused and motivated to continue. Thank you so much. We are at 7:59 UK time, which means that we are at the end of our session. Thank you all so much for coming. And who was it? Was it Angel before who said about telling her friends? Yeah, it was. Let's all be like Angel. Let's all tell our friends. And let's grow this community. I will be back on Wednesday. And then we have another teacher helping out to run the Friday session. I'm not able to. So I will see you back on Wednesday. These sessions happen every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time that this session started. And you can follow us and keep in the loop on Discord. And you can also sign up to the mailing list on the website to be sent the mindfulness memos. And there included is the link to access these sessions as well. Obviously, you're here, so you have access to sessions, but you can use that to spread the word as well. Okay, we have one. Kiana says, let us have one exclusive thing. What do you mean, Kiana? One exclusive thing. What does she mean? She's typing. Not to tell others. I don't understand. I don't understand, Kiana. What can I tell you not to tell the others? Oh, you mean let's not grow it and let's just have it like for ourselves? Yeah, with you, with you. I like that too. I do want to maintain, it would be really nice to have opportunities to have sessions with much larger groups, but then also something smaller for those people who want to have a little bit more interaction and dialogue and keep it as a smaller thing. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Natasha says Wi-Fi party in 1 week. Boop, boop. And Janina says gatekeeping mindfulness sessions. Yeah, should we just lock the door? This is it. Everyone who was here today, that's it. You're in. Everyone is out. No, let's not do that. Let's be kind. All right, we have the open mic session now, so you guys can unmute and chat and hang out. Please do so with some mindful, loving awareness, beautiful communication, loving hearts. And I will see you in a couple of days, guys. Thank you so much. Have great evenings, days, mornings, whatever time it is where you are. Bye, guys. Bye.